Warrior Queen. He had a peep over the right shoulder, and she's going to blow them away. But Northerly, Danny Miller pumping away, and Northerly wins the railway.
Welcome to Racing Rewind. Our panel will review and digest the Prime WA Saturday Thoroughbred meeting from 24 hours earlier. If you have an opinion, send a text to 0427 789 571.
Galaxy Star draws away from them. Pike Magician.
Yes, welcome along to Racing Rewind. Rylie Morgan and Michael Heaton. A very good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, boys. Great to be here after witnessing Bustling win again yesterday in the Sires Produce Stakes. Morton Racing go back-to-back in the Karrakatta and the Sires 2 years in a row, and he looks pretty special, Rylie.
Good morning, boys. What a star. Bustling. Yep. Absolute star.
Absolutely. We'll dive into it a little bit more later in the program, but he hasn't done a thing wrong as a 2-year-old, and hopefully we can see him in a quokka next year if he's not sold elsewhere.
What other highlights on the program caught your eye, Rylie?
Oh, I think there was some really good wins there yesterday, I think, and especially you go through that program there yesterday. Ollie's Choice able to put that second win in a row, and he's been a horse for the Pearce brothers. He's joined their stable, and he's been a hard horse to catch, Michael, over the course of his career, but now he's starting to finally put it all together, and I think he's a horse that they're going to have a lot more fun with moving forward as well. Yeah,
he's probably one of those horses earlier in the preparation that just had genuine bad luck. It was almost becoming a bit of a joke, whether he was getting held up or he was off the track the entire, and he was just producing the run of the meeting after meeting, but now he's enjoyed some really good luck since William Pike's jumped aboard, and he's been putting them to the sword. And just on Pikey, a winning treble yesterday, so he's back into the swing of things, and he rode really, really well for the entire day.
Leads the Metro 76-74, Chris Parnham.
Bit of vintage Pike there yesterday aboard Fat Roy Slim as well. We'll talk about that a bit later on in the program, but that was as quintessential a Pike ride, Michael, as I think you'll ever see.
Yeah, looked in a world of trouble approaching the turn, but blew the whistle and got the run and did what Pike does. But next Saturday will be a little bit of a different look. Sean McGruddy's on holidays. William Pike is suspended, I think. And William Pike's riding in the Goodwood, isn't it?
Adelaide?
In Adelaide,
yep.
So he's away. And Chris Parnham got a suspension yesterday as well.
Okay.
So 3 big jockeys not riding next Saturday.
Anything else to report from the stewards' room?
No, I think that was about it. Perhaps a whip fine or two, but nothing significant.
Looked a bit on pace, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
A little bit. I thought it played pretty. You could win from off the speed. I think it was pretty fair, but yeah, you wanted to be ideally up there.
Was it just good horses were there, or what?
Yeah, we looked. Bandolier Bogue, I think, got things really cheap in the front, but after 4 races, the 3 of them were won by the leader, so we're thinking, we're in a bit of trouble here. Twain's Angel was just too good for them, sat 1-1. Treasured Queen won race 6 leading. Bustling sat outside the leader and won race 7. Fat Roy Slim, a staying race, so you can take that as you like, but the leader was beaten a nose and roped them in, parked just behind them. So I think
once that data comes through as well, you'll find that Treasured Queen race, that they went pretty slow there as well. So.
Yeah, there was a pretty short margin spread in running.
Okay, now we've got a text here from Jennifer. She said, can you remind Rylie about the football scores in the waffle yesterday? I let this one slip, but there it goes.
Well,
7-10-52, East Fremantle 17-709.
No, we came up against a very slick football side there yesterday, and Marty, there's a couple of players playing for East Fremantle that played yesterday who I'll be very surprised if they are still there at the end of the season and they don't get drafted in that mid-season draft.
Really?
They are some
got names?
Proper talent. Bryn Tackle, one of them, as their ruckman, and also young bloke Jack Cleaver. I watched him for the first time yesterday, and I looked at this bloke and I thought, this bloke's got AFL written all over him.
Well, Adrian Dodoro was reportedly spotted there at Leederville Oval yesterday.
He was loitering around at Leederville Oval there yesterday, I can confirm. So
okay.
There's obviously some interest in a few boys that were playing in that game yesterday, but it wasn't the worst shellacking in the waffle.
No, Peel gave it to the
Peel
Cardies.
Thunder. Have a look at the score there.
164-51. Claremont 46, beaten by Swans 93. And Fremantle 74 beat Perth 37. So there you go, Jennifer. Thank you for that text on 0427 789 571. Keep them coming in and get those Sunday saviours in. Right, let's commence the review of yesterday's meeting out there at Ascot. And race number 1 on the card was the Azure Painting Handicap over the 1,000 metres.
Head by the 450, Lexington City. The fave here in the first on Sire's Day by a length and a half. Beads. Harvey bides his time with Premium Choice. Follows Lexington City. And Thomas Magnum has hooked to the outside of the other pair. But Lexington City, hard hands and heels at the 200. Now about to be shown the Persuader. Led by a length, Premium Choice trying to push up on the inside. Thomas Magnum keeps coming, but Lexington City keeps going. And Lexington City won the first for the day. Well, he was overdue for it. Lexington City beat Thomas Magnum, Premium Choice, and Beads was back last.
Well, it was a good start for favourite backers. This got into $1.85 at the death. The Lexingtons for Simon Miller and Chris Parnham.
Yeah, predictable result. Found the front, got things cheaply enough. And interestingly, this was the race that Chris Parnham actually got suspended on. Paul Harvey was kicking up on Premium Choice on the inside, and I think Chris crossed to the fence and may have clipped him on the tightened him up on the way through. But yeah, he was able to run home in 34.20, which was the second fastest of the race. And when a leader's doing that, invariably they're going to be winning, Riley.
Yep, completely agree there, Michael. And I thought this was a chance of occurring. Obviously, the race changed complexion with that key scratching of Almighty Class during the week, but also I thought this was maybe a chance of occurring in that small field, even with Almighty Class in the field, with how well Lexington City has been going and being the only noted speed in the race, just getting things very cheaply and being able to kick off that corner. I thought he was going to prove very hard to run down, and the punters were of that same belief as well, and able to get the job done very early in the day there at Ascot yesterday, because you look at that form through the Boss Lady last start and the first up run as well. He's come back to racing this gelding in superb order for Simon Miller, whose stable's starting to really tick along nicely over the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's probably not the most genuine horse, Lexington City. That's been my knock on him along the way, but he's been super consistent and he has been racing really, really well. Thomas Magnum hit the line nicely. He's putting together some great consistency this time in, and Premium Choice just was probably got a bit too keen earlier on when she eventually did get crossed, but it also appears she had a bleed as well, so probably not a bad effort to be beaten 2 legs into third.
Yeah, I think that was probably the same opinion I had, Michael, in terms of how genuine the horse was. But just watching that replay in review last start behind the Boss Lady over the 1,100 metres, and just with how much he wanted to kick back when the Boss Lady sort of challenged him in the straight and he wanted to keep fighting through the line, I thought this horse has come back really well, and he's perhaps come back a lot better than he was last preparation. So hats off, credit to the stable, and hats off to the horse. He deserved that win there yesterday.
Okay, text line is well and truly open, up and running, 0427 789 571. Pikey reigns supreme again and grabs a handy lead in the Jockey Challenge after yesterday. Just when you think you have him, he skips away. Come on, Chris, your turn today. That is from Greg L.
Yes, well, I think Chris was the $1.78 favourite from memory in the Jockey Challenge yesterday, but yeah, as I said off the top, Pikey was rode really well yesterday and was able to get home a treble.
We've both got some very good rides later on this afternoon.
Yeah, and we will have a good look at that Northern Stakes later on as well. Hi, boys. This is from Tracy. Could you make a quick mention of the UFC 301 Alexandra Pantoja versus our Australian Steve Ersica? That's
Astro
from
boy,
WA, isn't he?
He's from Perth.
Perth boy, yeah.
And he's a very good. It's going to be a very good fight, I think.
You'd be going to watch that. You're a big UFC fan, aren't you?
I am. I think he's a great chance. I think it's going to be a great spectacle, that's for sure. As per.
There was one here regarding. I'll get back to that. Let's go to race number 2. And this was the Prestige Property Maintenance Handicap over the 1,800 metres.
150 left to run. It'll be the first to see the judge. It's Bandolier Bow by a length on Profit Pocket, being asked the question by Parnham. Hafey down on the inside, followed by Mystery Moment, Bayara. Then Play with Desire. Pagey's turn, still well off them. Bandolier Bow kicks away, though, at the 200 mark. The pacemaker got a margin. Profit Pocket, who's only battling at the moment. Bandolier Bow clear. Hafey the roughie giving chase, but Bandolier Bow will go all the way. Bandolier Bow has won it from start to finish over Hafey. Bayara third, then Profit Pocket running on down the outside.
Thank you,
Next
Darren.
of all,
4, 5, 6 and 3. It was spec'd and betting late as well, Bandolier Bow, 11 into $7. Found the front, well rated in front by Jordan Turner and leads all of the way. I have the Hall of Famer, Fred Kersley, walking towards me. It's been a good training performance too, 35 days between runs. I'm sure Greg will take the credit for that. But Is that by design, the month between runs, Fred, or was there a little bit of a hiccup behind the scenes?
To be fair, a little bit of a hiccup after his last run, which was pretty good till the next day, and he got a bit of swelling in his legs. Must have picked up an infection from a little bit of scarring or cut on his leg. So that's why he had the time off. But I thought he did a great job today coming off a break over the 1800.
Absolutely. Well ridden by Jordan Turner as well. Wasn't a huge amount of speed in the race, and he rated him nicely.
Oh, he did. He rode him very well.
Only his second win at Ascot from 19 starts. You put that down to anything in particular?
Not really. There's no good reason for that, but he's probably been a horse that's been a slow developer over the years. I think he's just getting better as he goes. Probably the trainer could have put him over a bit of distance earlier than he has, because it seems to suit him.
The trainer got a spot on this time. Well done.
There you go. Thank you.
There you go, Michael Heaton and Fred Kersley after the win of Bandolera Bow.
Yes, really well rated in front by Jordan Turner here.
Good ride, wasn't it?
Appeared to get things awfully cheaply, and the horse hadn't actually run a place at Ascot, I think, from 6 starts. But that was another horse on the day. He had won one race, I think it was, Bandolera Bow, from several, maybe 18 or 19 starts going into the race. So he wasn't really an Ascot horse on paper, but got things cheaply. And the punters knew as well, was $11 into 7 on the WOP, and they were duly rewarded.
Yeah, they landed some good bets here. And Marty, we spoke on the Straight Up podcast on Thursday that this horse, obviously, the query with him was the fact that he was a month between runs. Obviously coming into that race there yesterday, but in a race where there wasn't really any noted speed, Michael, outside of him, if he was given that opportunity to roll and dictate, and there was any sort of on-speed pattern, which there probably was a little bit there yesterday, that it certainly wasn't any disadvantage to be on speed, that's for sure, and certain that he was going to be hard to catch off his form prior, and I think it was a terrific ride by Jordan Turner to rate him as well as he did. Yeah,
in review, Profit Pocket was probably a bit disappointing to run fourth beaten 2 lengths. Did get a bit keen with the lack of tempo, whether or not would have been better suited rolling to the top, but easy to say in hindsight, but she probably went unders regardless. Yeah. And the surprise for me is just how well Hafey's going. It was a terrific effort the start prior. Comes to a Saturday and runs a nice second. Was 1,300 up to 1,900 in a Narrogin 52 plus last start and won, and then runs second at Ascot. So
how good's the Narrogin form holding up?
Bayhara from Geraldton ran third. So the form probably for this race is a little bit hit and miss, so it's certainly not the strongest Saturday race. That's reflected in the race being scaled down from a 60 plus to a 57 plus, but still a nice training performance. Bandolera Bow, 35 days between runs to still able to win.
I thought, Play With Desire was probably the one for me. I thought could run a big race there yesterday, and very disappointing, I think, Michael. Yeah,
he was. I don't think he was suited by the slow tempo, but he was they tried to put him into the race, but Chris did, but was just not able to make up much ground. But you're watching the review.
Just build into that sort of race, as a horse who's going to get better, obviously, over a bit further.
But you watch them in the straight, they virtually don't change in settling order. I think Profit Pocket goes backwards a little bit and Hafey makes a touch of ground, but just watching the replay now, they pretty much finish in that exact order. So it was a really difficult race to make up ground in Marty.
That is for sure. On to race number 3. And this is an interesting race because Ollie's Choice, it was really well back, wasn't it? They came for this horse again. Dan and Ben Pease doing a terrific job, and let's have a listen to the win.
Coming off its heels, though. It's starting to travel into it for Carberry. Nowhere to go at the moment for Yarra Lee, and it's behind a roughie. And then Not Secret peeling to the outside. Then Ollie's Choice saved up back behind those. Media Baron under heavy pressure. Into the straight. Dessine let go. Hit the front. Join Heskett. Down the outside, Not Secret. Yarra Lee getting clear. Here's Ollie's Choice starting to wind up quickly with 100 left to go, and Sisu Warrior runs on. Pike takes Ollie's Choice to the lead, though. Kicks clear, and Ollie's Choice will salute. Ollie's Choice beats Sisu Warrior. Not Secret third from Dessine, Yarra Lee, and then Heskett, Media Baron.
Bad luck earlier in the campaign. He's now put together 2 on the bounce.
Yeah, he's a really happy horse. I watched him canter to the gates, and he was just so relaxed. Dropped his head beautifully, and stretching out to the mile now. So he's racing well.
I think that was start number 10 for him for the campaign, but clearly hasn't showed any signs of training off.
No, well, that's it. But he's sort of, he had those unlucky runs at the start of the prep. He's pulling up well, doing everything good. So probably no reason to pull up the prep yet.
Okay, and the way he races as well, you'd think Belmont probably suits him even better.
Yeah, for sure. He's we'll just sort of each run at a time, and just as long as he's happy, that's the main thing. He can be a bit of a funny horse, and we just want to make sure that we keep him in a good headspace.
There he is, Ben Pearce, trainer or co-trainer of Ollie's Choice, who combined with William Pike to win the third, the Oban Group Handicap.
Yeah, lovely ride, William Pike. He was always destined to be three back the fence, but just the way he peeled off the fence, Pikey approaching the turn, got into clear running, didn't have to pretty much break momentum at all, and he was just too good for them. It was the race changed complexion a lot at the start. I think Sisu Warrior may have stepped just a little bit slow and was the logical leader on paper, but when that happened, he went back, and all of a sudden there was the speed map had changed. Dictator, the outsider of the field, rolled to the front. Heskett ended up rolling forward to the breeze, so things did change a little bit, but Ollie's Choice was just still far too good.
Yeah, it's just, with Pike, you know what you're going to get most of the time, Michael, and it was a terrific ride. It's the lane three back the fence where he was early, and I don't think there's many jockeys that that were able to put that horse in the spot it was on straightening than Pike was from where it was in the middle stage of the race. I think it's just fair to say, and that's the fact of the matter. And it was a really, really soft win. This horse is
flying.
This is a horse that they're going to have a lot more fun with now that he's starting to really come into his own. He's put a couple of wins on the board together. He's been a very hard horse to catch over the course of his career, but he's always touted that real ability, Michael, and now that he's actually starting to put it all together, you can think, wow, what sort of level can this horse get to, because he's certainly a very good one.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first preparation that the Pearces have had the horse for, so they're sort of learning with him early days, but he's putting it all together now. The run of the race, though, for me was Sisu Warrior against his usual pattern for a non-speed horse.
58 kilos.
Yeah, so he gave Ollie's Choice a kilo. Luke went for an inside run on straightening but wasn't able to get it, so ended up peeling out into the clear after that, and he was still sort of had his momentum halted. So for him to finish off as well as he did into second place, run home in the fastest closing sectionals, thought that was a terrific run. Not Secret was a good effort as well, and into third. And Desinay, I'm not sure where he's at the moment. He was pretty good earlier in his campaign, really flat run last start. Yesterday probably got a bit too keen with the addition of the blinkers, and he wasn't a bad effort, but
probably hasn't come back.
He probably don't think he's going as well as what he was last preparation.
I would agree with that, Marty. I think he's probably just not the same horse that he was last prep.
Okay, found that text. It's from George. Morning, boys. Enjoying the show as always. Do you know the reason why Antique Miss was disqualified for 2 races?
Positive swab.
Yeah, from arsenic, I think.
I think it was, yeah. Michael Grantham was on the radio earlier this week explaining it and said that he's made the necessary changes to his facilities and everything. And
there's been a few of those going around.
He was as upset and as shocked as anyone. But yeah, that's put that behind him now, and the horse ran really well yesterday.
There's been a few of those going around lately, Marty. I know doing the form for the card at Northern today, I know Jimmy Taylor's had a couple as well. Idyllic Ruler back into a maiden as well today, Michael. So there's been a few that have been getting that DQ next to their name in recent weeks.
Yeah. Okay, move on now to race number 4, the Tab Touch West Speed Platinum Handicap over the 1,400 metres.
Now being hunted to the outside from Fortune's Luck is well back in the field, and Big City's at the head of the remainder. Into the straight though, Valderina joined by Kisses from Kelly, and El Patron on the outside letting down here, trying to gather them both in, but on the inside Valderina kicks. Kisses from Kelly starting to grind away. Here's Lover Session starting to charge over on the inside. Valderina, Lover Session, El Patron. Valderina's in front. Valderina has done it all the way from Lover Session and El Patron. Belgrano Bill, Major Mario.
Okay, so there it is. Valderina, Steph Backranich and Jason Whiting combining there at the good odds, double figure odds.
Yeah, it was actually longer than that as well. Was spec'd in the closing minutes, about $15 into $11. Good ride, Jason Whiting. Would have had the option to sit leaders back, but kicked clear with Valderina. I think Steph Backranich gave a good insight into her post-race, saying that she's quite a timid and flighty type of a horse and gets a little bit scared. So from barrier 1 being in front, ended up working to her advantage. We know these type of races generally mix and match every week, but she was the lightest raced horse in the race, and only start number 5, I think it was, or 5 or 6 yesterday as a late season 4-year-old. So she's building up a nice record. Thought Lover Session was a good run. Trialled well for the new yard, ran well into second place, but is still 1 win from 18 starts, so hard to catch. The same can be said pretty much rinse and repeat for El Patron. Kisses from Kelly was
Well back.
Geez, probably the best backed runner on the card was $12 into $5 favouritism or second favouritism. Found the front, probably got a little bit of pressure and was a good enough run, holding on into fourth. And I thought Major Mario, this is the horse I ended up tipping, was off the 3-day backup. He was a really good effort. 3 wide, no cover the trip the entire, and stuck on for 5th place.
Yeah, team's going really well at the moment. Steph Bakranich.
She's always done a good job with the small team.
Yeah, she's going. Her horses are running really, really well at the moment. That's for sure and certain. And this horse that won there yesterday, it was watching that win first up, Michael. I thought this is a win of a horse who I think can progress through those sort of midweek, go to a Class 1, Class 3 sort of grades. This preparation, it was a really nice win for a horse that was deep throughout, to put him away with that much authority.
Yep.
And then obviously put in a bit of a flat one second up there. Last start was held up briefly on straightening, perhaps just didn't get the rub of the green there second up. But to go out there and do what she did there yesterday, she's a horse with plenty of upside, as you touched on, that she's being so lightly raced obviously as well. And Major Mario is another one, obviously ran really well Wednesday off the 3-day backup. Ran another super race there again there yesterday. She's doing a terrific job with a small team, Steph Bakranich.
I'd be forgiving of the horses back in the field. They did go slow in this race. The leader obviously won and 1:24.77. I think the Sires was run about 8 or 9 lengths faster than that, and they pretty much couldn't make ground really. The top 4 at the turn with the top 4 over the line, and horses like Fortune's Luck and Tenacious Reward ran home in the fastest closing splits, but just weren't able to get near them in the end.
Okay, so that does it for race number 4. We go to race 5, the Pierce Racing Ladies Syndicate's handicap over the 1,200 metres.
500 metre mark, and Miss Flirtatious, she's travelling well on the bridle, coming to the turn, so much so that the run has to come a little early now for Maddie Derrick. She pulls Twain's Angel to the outside to get out after the leader, who kicks on the corner. Miss Flirtatious, Twain's Angel starting to build now. Here she comes on the outside, followed further back Brave Spirit. Twain's Angel reaches the lead, but she reaches for the Persuader. On the outside, Brave Spirit, Twain's Angel. Brave Spirit trying to get on terms. Twain's Angel, though, clings on, and that's 4 straight now. Twain's Angel beat Brave Spirit. Miss Flirtatious, third home.
4 straight's always a good effort in anyone's language. Sean and Jake Casey doing a great job with Twain's Angel. Run of the race, Brave Spirit for mine.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that regarding Brave Spirit, but the filly Twain's Angel is doing a super job, and she's had to do it a different way yesterday, having to be ridden with a sit. There's 2 speed horses cleared out, and Maddie Derrick elected to slot in behind them, which is probably going to benefit the horse moving forward. But I think it was a better win than probably what reads on paper, because she ended up following the outsider of the field who was under pressure approaching the turn. She had to hook out, make a sustained run, and a horse like Brave Spirit, who I'm convinced is going to be a really good horse when the penny drops, had her back the entire running, and she was still able to get the job done. So I think there's good to add another string to her bow, and she's got an exciting future ahead.
And I thought it was a terrific ride in terms of the fact that Maddie Derrick, obviously she probably would have gone in with the mindset that I think I'm a chance of leading this race, and she never panicked. Obviously, they took her on pretty early. She had to pop off the fence and sit in that 1-1 position, which is never a bad position to be in, obviously. But I didn't think she ever panicked there. And while she was on the back of a horse that was slowing quite considerably, I thought she did a terrific job there yesterday. And it's going to be interesting, Marty, with this horse, Twain's Angel. We spoke about it. Brad touched on it really well. I think he made a very good point on the podcast on Thursday, and then he said that I think it looks a terrific setup for this horse to go 4 from 4 in this race yesterday, but I think there's going to be opportunities once she starts to get up in the weights to start taking her on. And off the run of Brave Spirit there yesterday, I think that opportunity could potentially be coming over the next couple of starts, that's for sure and certain.
Yeah, 100%. He's been super his last couple of starts, and not the furnished product either. Later in the day when Steve Wolf won with Rope Them In, he said that there's not much between the two, and they're probably his 2 stable flag bearers in the future. They're both really nice 3-year-olds. Mm-hmm. Miss Flirtatious was good, up in class, but crossed to the rail, stuck on really well, albeit on an on-speed day. And Olivia's Me Mama coming out of maiden grade was a cheeky run, and same as Spirit of George was on debut, so not the worst effort to be beaten 3.5 lengths by horses like Twain's Angel and Brave Spirit at your first start.
Especially when you scratch from a much weaker race midweek as well to go to this race up against Brave Spirit and Twain's Angel. I thought it was a terrific run from Spirit of George on debut. It was outstanding.
I have to make mention of the Boss Lady as well. Was scratched, dislodged Luke Campbell on the way to the barriers and put on a galloping exhibition. So unfortunately she was withdrawn. She was 2 from 2 this preparation going into yesterday. So hopefully we can see her back at the races soon.
Okay, you're listening to Racing Rewind. Time for a break. 29 away from 9 o'clock.
You are listening to Racing Rewind on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Out there 4 deep. Last of all, Plato or Plomo. On the point of the turn they come now. Treasured Queen, the favourite, just in front of Norwich, who goes up now, gives it the stare. A length and a half to Capray Omnia, Lost Gravity. Deep Envy's there, and Wicked Venom's coming down the outside. Inside the 200 though, Pike goes to work on Treasured Queen. Treasured Queen edged it way clear. Wicked Venom storming down the outside with Plato or Plomo, but Treasured Queen's far too good. Treasured Queen makes it a hat-trick. Beat Wicked Venom. Kripolenko third from Capray Omnia. Then Plato.
Well, there you go. Tell us about this. Tell us about this one, Michael.
Well, Treasured Queen has just been a revelation since joining Peter Fernie's stable. A private purchase. Andrew Ingles buys a lot of horses from Bob Peters, and this particular mare's 3 from 3 since joining Pete's yard. Clearly relished the Goldfields lifestyle, even though she was only coming out of 58 plus races at Kalgoorlie. She had been winning well, and the money was just really strong for her yesterday. I think she was even late, was 270 to 220, was really well supported, and it's a bloody good effort by Peter Fernie. Going into the race, I noticed that she hadn't run a place at Ascot from 3 starts, and she's now undefeated, 3 from 3 for Pete. So she's got a bright future ahead, it looks. Wicked Venom, I'm keen to keep following. He's been having a really good preparation. He finished as well as anything on a day where it was advantageous to be on speed. He finished hard from off the speed, running home in the fastest splits, and Kripolenko off the 7-day turnaround hit the line strongly late as well.
Obviously, Little Strawberry coming out took a little bit of that market percentage out there yesterday, Mart, but our man went up $5 on Thursday.
Did he?
We can give him a little rub about that, I reckon, next week. We can just give a little poke.
What price was Little Strawberry?
Little Strawberry would have been about $7, $6.50.
10 cents to the dollar.
Yeah.
I'm having a look at it.
Yeah.
You had a good day tipping, Riley. I think you were 3 from 3, weren't you?
Yeah, it was a good day, Mark.
Yeah.
It was. I was due.
Yeah.
Sure,
Stewie.
Wicked Venom, I thought was terrific. And again, obviously, the horse is still doing a little bit wrong. I thought got a little bit keen again there yesterday, not mentioning the steward's report, but I thought the horse was overdoing it a bit when wide throughout and was never able to really get cover in the run there yesterday. But for the run that this horse had, I thought the way that he finished off there yesterday was a superb effort, Michael, and also Kripolenko, as you touched on, back in third. I thought this is a horse that's low flying at the moment for Greg Buglehole. This horse is going super as well.
Yeah. Speaking of getting keen, Capray Omnia, this is the horse that I actually liked in the race and just seemed to go way too hard early. Steve had his hands full, was just reefing and over racing fiercely for pretty much the first 600-800 metres of the race, so it was always going to toll on him late. He was only beaten 2 lengths into 4th place, so I do think there's a Saturday win in that horse.
Okay. Over a bit further, perhaps, you think?
Potentially, but not off yesterday because he was over racing fiercely over 1,000. So, that'd be a risk stepping up in distance.
Looking through his form, he was a horse who raced over a bit further when he was racing well over in the Eastern States. So maybe they experiment with that over the next couple of starts. But no, he's going undeniably well.
Main event of the day, and this is the one that got all the tongues wagging, the Key Clean WA Size Produce Stakes over the 1400.
Fifth with about 450 to go. Tactics is over on the inside next of all. Then Big Shot, Snippy Sean. And last is Battle on Battler. At the top of the home straight, Brad Parnham gave the favourite its head. Bustling burst to the lead. Bustling set sail for the judge. Kicked 2.5 in front from the filly Golden Kathleen. It's Bustling, though, down inside the last 120. And all home a winner in the Size Produce. He's dominating them. And the star youngster goes on to win the Size in a canter. Bustling from Golden Kathleen. Third Big Shots, Battle Commander, Battle.
Just love this horse's racing style, up on the speed, and then just put him to the sword.
Absolutely, he does it at both ends, and he just travels so well in running. You could see Brad was trying to almost put him to sleep in there, and the outside leader position just let him idle up to them on the turn. It was a different type of a win to his Karrakatta Plate win, where he just really free rolled, kicked hard into the straight, and was too good for them. Yesterday, he sort of held on to him for a little bit going into the straight, and he was still good enough just to extend and win by 2.5 and was pretty much eased down over the final stages. He ran home in the second fastest closing sectionals from Big Shots, who came from a long way back to run an eye-catching third. So he can do it at both ends, Bustling, and he does look very, very special. I'm hoping that he can stick around and we can see him in a quokka next year, as we saw a few 3-year-olds do this year, and of course Amelia's Jewel last year. Of his body of work, I don't see why he couldn't be better than any of those horses.
Do you think he does stick around, Michael? Marty, you can chime in as well.
It's how would you know? It depends what the offer is. If they got offered $2 million, then
well, Neville Duncan would be listening. I'm sure he would be listening. So Nev, text us in. Tell us what's going on.
How much and when? Well, it depends I've got no idea what the figures are, but everything's got a price on it, doesn't it? He's
just so tractable.
If we all had Marty's money, we probably wouldn't. We'd hang on and just play along for the ride.
Exactly.
But
no, I'd say, I don't know. I've got no idea. It'd be good if Neville did tell us so, but I know it's private business, but there was some big figures being bandied around before this race, wasn't there?
Yeah,
from Hong Kong.
You don't see many horses able to, at this early stage of his career, run the races he has, absorbing such strong tempos and just able to bounce out of them and kick off them and propel like he has. It's quite remarkable.
The thing that got me for the Karrakatta Plate win was not the fact that it was the fastest Karrakatta Plate ever, but he led, so he clearly was leading at a higher pressure, and he ran the fastest last 200.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, that's what I say, that racing pattern that he's got.
But I think a leader to run a last 200 is impressive. A fastest last 200 is impressive in itself, but when you're running them, I think Scott Embry said yesterday, 8 lengths faster than Karrakatta average. That's just insane.
And just looking a bit further ahead as well for the beaten brigade from the race. In the size there yesterday, Michael, I thought you touched on the flashing lights run of Big Shots, but I thought that was one of the runs of the meeting for mine there yesterday. And I think this is a horse who, if he comes back a better 3-year-old, he's going to be winning a lot more races.
Yeah, 100%. Golden Kathleen as well there in second was a really good run. Sat leaders back and ran into second. She's just stiff that she's bumped into a star in Bustling this preparation. She's had a terrific campaign. She was the Karrakatta Plate favourite from memory pre-post early doors, and second in the Gimcrack, 6th in the Karrakatta, and then second in the size as well. So she's been a really good filly. Big Shots we've touched on. Battle Commander stuck on well, albeit on speed day, but still a good effort to run 4th in the sires. And Chest Out Swagger, I think he'll be a nice horse next preparation. He was settled midfield cover with Big Shots on his back and held his ground to finish 5th, but I think he's a nice horse in the making. And only other one I wanted to touch on was Blue Rocket, who enjoyed the run of the race but was under pressure on straightening. She looks as though she's had enough for this campaign, but she got black type in the Karrakatta Plate as well.
1400.
Yeah,
probably didn't suit, but I think she was beaten 7.5. Yeah. I think she was probably went regardless.
She's a bit sharper than that. She's
Blue Points are looking like they want to sprint a bit.
Yeah.
Race number 8 was the Amelia Park handicap over the 2200 metres.
About 5 lengths cover the field. 400 from Heyman. Tallangatta dropped off. Magic Whistle for the moment. Beats of War going right up near the inside, setting after the leader. Gold Friars followed by Flower in the Wind. Lord Gannicus to the extreme outside, but Tallangatta giving back is a great sight. Tallangatta at the 200 by 2. Beats of War. Look at Fat Roy Slim finishing brilliantly right up against the inside. He's coming at the rate of knots. Tallangatta on the inside. Fat Boy Slim from Lord Gannicus. They're going to go to it. There's nothing in it. All tight. Tallangatta, Fat Roy Slim, which hugged the Dulux, I'm not sure. Lord Gannicus third. In behind them, close up, Magic Whistle, Let's Deal, Beats of
Which way did you think, Michael, on the line?
No, I thought Fat Roy Slim got there just in time. In live, he had the feeling he was going to get there, but it was an enthralling watch. It was clearly the finish of the day, and that's always a really good spectacle when you have a horse coming from so far off them and the leader kicking, and just them joining forces over the final stages. And the money was, again, really strong here. Punters were sharp yesterday. Fat Roy Slim ended up starting favourite. They certainly knew with Flower in the Wind, who was, I think, 270 out to 370, blew like a gale, and really Fat Roy Slim was 480 into 320 favourite. So they were spot on there. Settled rearwards, looked to be in a bit of trouble approaching the turn, was about 4 back the fence, and then they sort of fanned off the fence, and Pikey was able to stick to the rail and he finished brilliantly, and he gave the horse a really good wrap after the race as well, with just how well he did sprint.
It was a classic pike ride, this one there yesterday, as you touched on, Michael, and you wouldn't have picked the horse to win the race from where he was at the 600. That's for sure and certain. And Tallangatta was super. Tallangatta was super in defeat as well. This horse, who obviously hasn't taken on the staying journeys in his career to date before last start, when able to be victorious in that 50 plus at Pinjarra, but I think we know now that this is what this horse is going to do moving forward. It was a terrific run there yesterday, and Lord Gannicus with a big rate.
Yeah,
it was a good run.
Good effort.
Yeah, really good effort. Obviously, went to the 1900 metres, won the Narrogin Cup at 1900, back to the mile, up to 2200 metres, stepping up 600 metres and trip to carry that 59 kilos and run as well as he did. I think he's certainly proven that he's going to be a horse who can certainly win races over these sort of distances moving forward as well, Michael. Yeah, for sure. Flower in the Wind, the horse that was favourite that I touched on off the top, I thought she got a check on straightening in at one stage, but just watching live, when she started to go backwards a little bit, it looked like she got squeezed up. But watching it again, I think she was under pressure before that anyway, and I don't think she was going all that well, and she did disappoint. She was scheduled to progress to that the 84 plus Rogan Josh next week, but even watching that Stewards head on footage, I think she was under pressure before she got timed up, so she was a disappointing run. Yep. I think that was, and the market knew with her as well.
Absolutely. Well, that was predicted. I think McGinnity predicted that too, didn't he, on Straight Up?
That's Flower in the Wind would drift.
Well, that she was a bit vulnerable.
Yeah, she was vulnerable, I think, was the main angle he was going with on Thursday. Yeah, for sure.
Geez, I've got to say, the winner was a good run.
Yeah, absolutely. And
really good run.
Flower in the Wind had 5.5 kilos more.
Yeah.
She's not a big mare.
Maybe a slight grey up on the race, Marty, being the fact that the entire field was separated by less than 3 lengths at the finish.
Yeah, that old bunch finish, 2.79 between a lot of them.
But the ride won the race.
Yep. Go to the lucky last, the McMahon handicap over the 1,200 metres.
Coming into the turn, No Luck, Snow Prince from its wide gate, though outside of Birds the Word, then Antique Miss, Forest War, Generosity. She's well back, conceding the leader the best part of 5 or 6 and going for runs inside of heels. And last, Weld, Son of the Boss, the leader, rope them in around its heels now, goes up, challenges, hits the front, rope them in, dashes to the lead, down the outside, Antique Miss, Generosity getting into the clear, but the Bird had flown and rope them in wins. Rope them in, beat Generosity. Tight for third, Son of the Boss or Antique Miss, and then Forest War, who split them.
Well, pretty impressive horse this, isn't it? It's got ability and it's got a future.
I think he's a real black type horse in the making. If he continues on his way, I think there's a good race in him. He's a real talent, and he's always flashed ability as well. Last preparation, he ran second in the Faritha, fourth in the Belgravia, and then drew a bit awkwardly and was beaten 4.5 by Zip Away. A lot of good men, Super Smink in the Guineas. Big run first up. The money came hard again yesterday. Another one where they got spot on. Generosity was all the rage first up. Yesterday she blew like a gale late, was 220 out to 320, and Rope Them In was crunched into favouritism. Had the run of the race from Sean McGrady and won well. Generosity was still a ripping run. The way that she was ripping late ground off Rope Them In was impressive, but has to be said, she's 1 win from 9 starts now. She goes around near on favourite every start. She has a negative race pattern. Her only win to date's at Belmont, so I'm not dropping her off yet. And she has both of her runs this preparation, if you take away her price, have been sensational in review in terms of the amount of ground she's made up and sectionally. But as a betting proposition, I'm going to be putting her to one side.
Yeah, I mean, Wolfie's got a nice one here. There's no doubting that in Rope Them In. He's a beauty, and he showed that yesterday, Michael, and I completely agree with you in the fact that I think he's a black type horse moving forward. And I think the form early in his last campaign, Marty, that's what stood out for me more than anything else. Was you're looking at, he's been beaten second up last preparation in a Faritha by Investment Strategy, who is very much a quality 3-year-old, beat home a lot of good men and Zip Away. I think they're probably 3 of the best 3-year-olds we have in the state, and it was whether or not, obviously, he could repeat the dose there off that first up run there yesterday, but McGrady gave him a perfect ride. It was a super steer, and he just rides that box seat so well, doesn't he?
Yeah, best leaders back rider in WA, I think. The way he just knows how to push out and put his horse into the race. Generosity we've touched on. Son of the Boss was another really good run. Progressive horse, I think, Son of the Boss, and he showed last start he has versatility. He's tracking along nicely, but my follow of the race is actually going to be Antique Miss. She obviously lost those rating points. She should be rated, I think, 8 points more than what she is, but then she's back down in the ratings after those 2 disqualifications. I thought she hit the line really well yesterday. She was strong late. She was only first up. I think there'd be improvement in her to come, and love the fact that she's already been there and done it, but we almost get a second crack at her at winning those races again. So she'll be a follow for mine, Antique Miss.
Echo those sentiments, Marty. Antique Miss, one of the follows of the meeting for mine moving forward.
Rope them in. If you go back a couple of generations on the dam side, you get to Rory's Jester, who was a real, Golden Slipper winner, speed sire. So he got to the mile in the Guineas.
And was a forgive.
Yep. So does he get a mile? Is he strong at a mile? I know he's a playing god.
He's only been there once, hasn't he? I think.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if you ask
he
Wolfie,
looked very effective at 1200, yes?
Yeah, and he put himself in bounce, put himself into a spot. He's
travels beautifully.
Might be a touch too brilliant to be a miler, but we have said that about plenty 3-year-olds before that ended up getting there when they sort of the penny drops a bit. But
nice problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah.
To say, well, if you get the mile, you're good at 12, 14 and 16, anywhere in between. So there's plenty of races on offer.
Sometimes and this was a horse, obviously it's easy to say in hindsight now the horse has won the race, but when you see a horse trial like he did before that first up run, obviously he had the big weight, carried the 59, drew very wide, got back, hit the line strongly behind Twain's Angel, who's a very sharp horse in her own right. But you just look at trials sometimes and you go, I think they've got one here. They've got a really nice horse who's come back to racing in superb order, and that was, I guess, the thought process there. And the punters latched on. This horse was backed into favouritism, as we touched on.
Was it you who said that Wolfie said there's not much between Rope Them In and Brave Spirit in track work?
Yeah. He thinks they're both really nice horses, and there's not a lot between them. He said in his interview yesterday. The other horse I wanted to touch on, Forest War, was actually a huge run in review, was fighting the line as well as anything, and was right about 100 metres after the post. He was nearly in front, and he's eligible for a lot easier races than that, and I think he might be heading to that Sky Provincial race that he's qualified for in a couple of weeks, so he would be a contender in that off of that run yesterday in that type of field.
Should be a good form race that last, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it will be.
100%. Yeah, well, my follow of the races, in the race is Antique Miss, who ran 4th, beaten 2.3. And so I think, this race should hold up.
Okay, we've got a terrific game on our hands, this NBA game. The Timberwolves 73 leading the Nuggets 71. Alex Vlahos will be watching this one. He's probably the only Timberwolves fan I know in the world. And they're up by 2.
The entire world, mate.
Yeah, the entire world. I don't know any others. I can honestly say that. It's
on Racing Rewind, it is time for the boys to look back and determine who are the black bookers, the ones to be on next start, the horses to follow.
Okay, horses to follow, lads. Before we have a look at the Northern Stakes, sponsored by Tab Touch.
Yeah, I sort of found it a bit difficult yesterday, but I've got 3. Brave Spirit, I think, picks himself, Rope Them In, so I'm keen on the 2 Wolf horses, but Antique Miss as well, I think will be winning a race soon. Yep.
So you already mentioned 2 of mine, Marty. I've got 3 as well. Brave Spirit, Antique Miss, 2 horses I think are clearly follows from that meeting yesterday, and also Wicked Venom for Reece Radford. I will be following moving forward.
Okay, let's have a look at the Northern Stakes. Full look at the board here, sponsored by Tab Touch, and we'll throw in the shortness to boot as well. Let's Gallivant, 41 into 31. Magnificent Andy, 12 to 11. Star Trades, 91. Triple Missile, 12. Ginger Baker, 20 in from 41. Mojo Rhythm, 21. Aztec Ruler is 19. Red Can Man, 18 into 14. Specking Mood Swings into 34. Real Danger, 26 has been specced. Western Empire, 350 to 240. Comfort Me, 12 into 9. Saloon Bar Firm at 6. And Super Smink, 19 into 15.
Well, Western Empire has been really well backed, and no surprises off that first up run. Trolled like a bomb, rejoining Grant and Alana's yard, and the first up effort in the Joey was sensational. You can make a serious case that he probably should have won or gone super close to winning that race, and now at set weights and penalties, he meets them considerably better at the weights from that effort. I'm just about to get up the actual weight swings here, but he's much better suited at the set weights and penalties. He drops 3.5 kilos, so he gets 3.5 on Magnificent Andy for only being beaten half a length. He meets Red Can Man 1.5 kilos better for beating him home. He meets Aztec Ruler 2.5 kilos better for meeting him home. So he looks well placed, drawn a good gate. William Pike rides. He does look the one, but it is a quality field. It still runs deeper than that. Red Can Man, I think, should be able to just about find the front with some pressure outside from Mood Swings. Comfort Me should get the run of the race leaders back. And then you have a horse like Saloon Bar, who ran an absolute cracker in the Quokka Riley, who will be second half of the field doing his best work late.
He certainly will, and I guess you take a line through that Joey form. You'd have to think, Michael, that the Quokka form's a bit stronger as well at the same time. And Saloon Bar's a horse who, through the course of his career, his racing pattern's probably been the thing that's hurt him and cost him from winning more races. But at the same time, he couldn't have run a lot better.
No, absolutely.
How's the tempo look in this?
That was the question I was about to pose to you.
I think there's enough.
There's enough, but it could be one of those races where there could be more tempo than expected because of just how hot the field is in itself. And you could also see a scenario where they don't go that quick as well at the same time. So it's going to be very interesting.
The fact Mood Swings has drawn 12, I think he's only knows one way anyhow, so he'll be rolling forward to try to either take up the running or land outside leader. Red Can Man led the other day and is drawn barrier 5. Real Danger's drawn a bit awkwardly in 10. She also led the other day, but she's probably going to have to roll forward from out there. Probably won't be out sprinting the stablemate Saloon Bar and those sharper type of horses from back in the field. So I do think there's enough, but I'm interested more so where Western Empire gets, because he has drawn low.
But he's also not the fastest of horses.
Yeah, that may be his undoing, but I guess it's in W Pike we trust, and it'll be interesting to see how the track plays, because historically Northern can be a bit on speed opening meeting, but
you can tell by this stage of the day, which
you'll know
100%.
I thought the stablemate was a real good run in the Quokka, triple missile.
Yeah, absolutely
really good.
Yep,
absolutely.
No, found the line, but
I just find
is from out there going to be back running pattern.
He ran the fastest last 400 and 200 in the Quokka triple missile, and but from out there he probably settles last.
Yeah,
has the field in front of him.
It's no surprise, Marty, to see the volume of support for this horse, because I understand how set weights and penalties work, but I just find it remarkable you can have a Group 1 Railway Stakes winner who's clearly, they've perked him up, they've got him back fit and firing, ready to rock and roll, the Williams camp, carrying less weight than horses like Mood Swings, Aztec Ruler, Real Danger. It's a remarkably good placement. And
Saloon Bar, though, I wouldn't be dropping off him. His run in the Quokka was stronger race, was sensational, and you wouldn't think that you'd be getting a horse that ran a length and a half off Overpass and Amelia's Jewel in the Quokka that's on the second line of betting going into a Northern Stakes without those sort of horses.
Dan Morton's taken the blinkers off Super Smeg.
Yeah, start went on last start in the Quokka and had a tough run.
Yeah, nothing went right.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see her produce a better performance, but she'd need to be able to measure up here.
Just one for at longer odds, at much longer odds as well. I thought the first up run of Ginger Baker was outstanding as well.
Yeah,
41 into 20. Someone thinks it can go okay.
Yeah, really good run, and should get a much more economical run in here in transit. But $6 Saloon Bar. If you've missed the price on Western Empire, I think that would be the each way play.
Each way play there for you. If you've missed Western Empire, who seems to be everyone's selection in the race.
He's on top for me, Marty, but he is definitely short enough now at $2.50 in a quality field.
Looks a really good first 4 race.
And even Comfort Me leaders back. I know he doesn't win out of turn, but geez, he's really well suited at set weights and penalties as well, and he's guaranteed to get the run of the race. So if you didn't like Western Empire, you could probably play Comfort Me and Saloon Bar.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Riley, for coming in today for Racing Rewind. Thanks, Sophie Stone, for all her hard work in there throughout the day with Aftermath.